A teenager who doesn't have friends or a girlfriend is afraid of becoming an adult. Experiencing dirty feelings attraction to his aunt, he loses his parents and learns to be a man with an elderly neighbor. Learning, experiencing, then doing it. Feeling how it's good to do dirty things. Naples, the 1980s. Young Fabietto lives in a house with his parents, older brother and sister. The guy has no friends and no relationship with girls, but he dreams about it, so he spends all his time studying philosophy and listening to music, dreaming of going to college. In the evening, St. Januarius stops at a bus stop and invites a hot patrician to his house. The woman treats him with distrust, but the man knows too much about her. He promises to solve the problem with infertility and asks to brush lips with the little monk, after which he gropes the woman. Upon returning home, Patrizia, suffering from a mental disorder, quarrels with her jealous husband, who considers her an easily accessible woman. After learning of the scandal, Fabietto, Maria, and Saverio go to Patricia's house. Maria tries to support her sister in a difficult moment, and Fabietto looks at her aunt, admiring her appetizing forms. Franco is outraged by his wife's immoral behavior, but Saverio and his son try to calm the man down, justifying the behavior of the unfortunate Patricia. After returning home, the family goes about their own business and problems, without thinking about others. Soon the Baroness comes to them, a woman who lives on the floor above. The old lady is very nasty in character, but a wise and interesting conversationalist, so Maria does not send her away. After escorting her husband to work, the woman runs out on the balcony to exchange whistles, symbolizing their feelings. Fabietto goes to school and avoids the guys playing soccer. He is happy to make friends, but no one wants to talk to him except for the priest, who offers the guy to confess his sins. During lunch, the entire extended family gathers in the garden at the communal dining table to meet Luisella's fiancé. The woman is already 42 years old, but she still did not have a man, so everyone is looking forward to who she will bring. The children look out for Auntie through binoculars, while all the family members live their own worries. Patricia and Franco continue to find out the relationship, arguing because of the emotional state of the woman and her easy accessibility. Grandma sits apart from the others and doesn't want to get any closer, as she looks down on everyone who sits at the table. Maria looks the most cheerful and whistles with her husband, thus demonstrating her passion for him. Having decided to entertain the children, the woman juggles fruit, causing universal delight. At the same time, the men are concerned about the latest rumors about the transfer of Diego Maradona to the local Napoli. Some believe that this is just gossip, since the legendary football player plays in the Spanish Barcelona and hardly decided to move to Italy. In addition, their club has modest financial conditions and simply will not be able to buy out the contract of the Argentine striker. Alfredo is convinced that the transfer will take place and promises Fabietto to take his own life if this does not happen. Soon, a guy with binoculars reports that he noticed Aunt Luisella with her man. It turned out that he was a 70-year-old man and a former policeman who limps and speaks only with the help of a special device. The family taunts Luisella, but she ignores them because she feels happy. A little later, the family goes to the sea to swim and enjoy the beautiful weather. Luisella almost causes a tsunami by jumping into the water, leaving her fiancé on the yacht. The old man decides to chat with the charming Patricia, but the woman throws the battery of the device for conversation into the water. Once on the boat, everyone freezes, looking at Patricia curiously. Because of mental problems, a woman does not behave quite adequately and tans without underwear. Fabietto has a crazy passion for his aunt and can't take his eyes off her. Patricia notices this and asks her nephew to bring a towel, not hesitating to show him her figure. At some point, the family witnesses the chase. Smugglers who transport tobacco products evade the police and avoid criminal penalties. On the way home, Fabietto and Patricia walk behind the rest of the family on their way home. The guy feels sympathy for his aunt, but is afraid to admit his feelings and leaves her alone. Returning home, Fabietto carefully examines his grandmother, but she asks him not to do this because it is too early for him to look at women. In the evening, Marcino and Fabietto discuss the news about the possible transfer of Diego Maradona. Despite having feelings for his aunt, the guy would have preferred a transfer to Napoli and could have turned down the opportunity to make love to Patricia. The next morning, Marcino and Fabietto go to the casting of a film by a famous director. Marcino dreams of becoming an actor and getting at least a small role, but gets rejected. Fabietto is attracted to the hot girl in red, but realizes that she prefers rich men, regardless of their appearance and age. Looking into the studio, Fabietto notices hundreds of photos of beauties on the wall and realizes that he would like to make a movie, communicating with actresses and enjoying the precious time with them. Returning home, the brothers freeze in place. The whole city was literally put on pause, and they can be understood, as they all noticed Diego Maradona, who arrived in Naples. Upon returning home, Fabietto tells his parents about this, but they are skeptical about the news, considering it a stupid mistake. Maria calls the neighbors and informs them that they have been invited to act in a film. Saverio reminds them that bullying is bad, and the family goes to the neighbors to confess to the ridiculous joke. At night, the family gets a phone call from Saverio's mistress, causing Fabietto's parents, Fabietto, fight hard. The mother tries to calm herself down by juggling, but she gets hysterical. Fabietto worries about his mother's well-being and has a seizure, which his older brother helps him get out of. A couple of hours later, the family is called again, and Maria believes that this is her husband's mistress. Saverio reassures his wife, as this is a colleague at work who decided to share important news. The bank has issued insurance for hundreds of millions, which finally confirms the transfer of Diego Maradona to Napoli. The next morning, Saverio gives Fabietto a season ticket to the local team's home games so that his youngest son can watch the world-class soccer star play. Upon returning home, Maria meets a neighbor who has mental disorders. A woman is happy that her eldest son has a girlfriend, but at the same time, she is sad because of a quarrel with her husband. Mario supports the neighbor by drawing an indecent drawing, causing her to smile and laugh. Meanwhile, Saverio tells Fabietto about how he met Fabietto's mother. A man is sure that the first adult experience in a guy's life is the most important thing that can happen. He asks his son not to be afraid and take advantage of anyone who offers to enjoy the time with him. In the evening, Fabietto cannot sleep and goes to the city center, where they shoot a film by a famous director. Capuano is very demanding of actresses, but this is not surprising because he creates masterpieces of Italian cinema. Fabietto admires the main actress and dreams ending up in the same bed with her. After a soccer match, Fabietto meets Armando and recognizes him as a smuggler who escaped from the police. In the evening, Maria forgives her husband, and the couple reconciles. But before this happens, the wife plays Saverio as a fake bear. Sometime later, one of the family members is arrested for financial fraud. No one cares, because Diego Maradona scored a goal with his hand, which the referee counted. Soon this event becomes a landmark because it has political overtones. The hand of God will forever go down in history as a symbol of strength, freedom, and independence. The whole city of Naples is celebrating a spectacular victory, and only my grandmother is sad because of the arrest of one of her sons. She makes complaints to her relatives, but they angrily attack her and beat her. A couple of days later, Maria and Saverio go to a country house. They offer Fabietto to go with them, but the guy refuses because he wants to get to the next game of his favorite club. My parents fall asleep on the sofa next to the fireplace, and a couple of hours later, Fabietto and Marcino learn the terrible news. Arriving at the hospital, the brothers realize that their parents fell into an eternal sleep, having become victims of a carbon monoxide leak. Fabietto wants to see the bodies of his deceased parents, but he is not allowed to do so, which leads to hysteria of the guy. Sometime later, the family holds the funeral of Maria and Saverio. Fabietto can't cry and finds out that Aunt Patricia has gone to a psychiatric hospital for compulsory treatment. Alfredo learns that Fabietto was supposed to go with his parents and says that the guy was saved by the hand of God. Sometime later, the brothers watch Maradona train and note his tenacity. Marcino has no strength to endure the harsh reality and decides to leave for Rome to start his life with a clean slate. A couple of days later, Fabietto visits Patricia in a psychiatric hospital. As it turned out, the infertile woman managed to get pregnant, but she lost the child, which led to a quarrel with her husband. She doesn't want to see him and decided that it's better for her to live in a hospital than to communicate with her husband. Confessing his sympathy to his aunt, the guy returns home. A neighbor on the floor above invites the guy to her house and asks him to catch a bat. A few minutes later, the Baroness calls Fabietto into the bedroom and asks him to read her. An elderly woman realizes that he has never had a girlfriend and decides to help with this. The Baroness enjoys the time with a guy, allowing him to call her by her aunt's name. Having become a man, Fabietto decides to smoke and realizes that now he cannot be afraid of dating girls. Sometime later, Fabietto cries for the first time, expressing his emotions over the loss of his parents. In the theater, the guy enjoys playing the actress, but understands that there is no chance to get acquainted with her. After meeting with Armando, Fabietto goes to the port. There are a lot of girls of easy virtue here, but the pimp drives away the insolent ones. Armando beats up the man, after which they escape and decide to go to the island. Here, Fabietto notices an Arab sheikh and a model, realizing that without money, no beauty will be near him. As a result of the evening's adventures, Armando and Fabietto become best friends. A couple of days later, Armando ignores the guy, so he goes to the beach with his relatives. Embarrassed by his feelings, he climbs to the top of a cold volcano and listens to music, remembering his dead parents. Marcino admits that he does not want to think about the past and is not going to return to Naples. He is happy in Rome and feels free here. Realizing that it will not be possible to change his brother's mind, Fabietto says goodbye to Marcino and returns home. Sometime later, the guy watches the premiere of Capuano's movie and goes to prison to meet Armando. As it turned out, he did not ignore it, but simply fell into the hands of the police, who sent him to jail. Remaining the best friend for the prisoner, Fabietto again goes to the theater. In the middle of the performance, Capuano calls the actress mediocrity, which is why the girl runs away from the stage with tears in her eyes. Fabietto decides to get to know the director better and ask him for good advice. The eccentric Capuano ignores the guy, but learns that he is an orphan. Realizing that Fabietto has gone through all the stages of growing up for his young age, the director agrees to help him and offers to work together on a future film. Fabietto decides to think for a while, but soon realizes that he is not ready to stay in Naples. Leaving his sister, who is always sitting in the toilet, the guy leaves the house without saying goodbye to the neighbors. He visits his aunt for the last time and realizes that nothing will ever happen between them. The whole city is celebrating Napoli's first ever Serie A title, but Fabietto doesn't care about football. He goes to the train station and buys a ticket for the next train to Rome. On the way, the guy notices a small monk and hears the whistle with which the parents confess their feelings for each other. Realizing that this is only the beginning of his journey to adulthood, Fabietto does not lose hope for a better future. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. We really hope to read your comments. See you very soon.